Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of my slow burn to Endgame. Sorry this episode took so long to get out. Every single time that I sit down to record, the servers are down for maintenance. That gives us at least a couple hours before the bi-weekly game-breaking bug is discovered to figure out what we're gonna do in this episode. And whatever that ends up being, it starts here. Well, actually, I think it starts with a little bit of a recap. Last episode ended kind of strangely because I wanted to put more of the focus on kind of my thoughts on Afterlands, and so the things that I did gameplay-wise kind of just sat in the background, so I'm going to go over those formally here so that you're all caught up. Because I reached level 101, I unlocked events, which gives us access to this very overwhelming UI panel, and I unlocked guilds. I joined the Challenger World 3 guild that we made on stream like a month ago at this point. You can see here, I haven't logged into my main, I guess you call it, in a good few days. Most of the time that I've spent playing MapleStory, I've dedicated to this new account. Then as far as events go, just like the Challenger World event, which I have been chipping away at very slowly, these also give us daily check-ins and rewards, as well as this sick dog summon, who we're going to be hopefully leveling up throughout the rest of this event. I've been doing my daily check-ins here. I haven't claimed this stuff yet, but just to fill it out, even if I can't play for the day, I try to get on and at least do this. And then there's some new stuff in here that I haven't clicked on before, but in general, at 100, 101-ish, the game starts to open up and you get a lot more of this stuff. Before I get into too much more of that, the elephant in the room is that my level is 131, and the reason for that is that I had some VIP boosters and 4x coupons in my inventory from the compensation, and I knew I wasn't going to get through all of them, but I at least wanted to get through a few of them so I could have kind of B-roll for the Afterlands rant. And in the process of using those, I found a Rune of Blessing, which is the strongest rune in the game with the fattest XP buff. And between that, the 4x coupon, and the VIP boosters, I basically had burning for a few seconds or minutes. I had to force myself to stop, so we've stopped at 131, which is why we have this conspicuous light bulb, because this is our 4th job advancement, which was meant to happen at 100, but because of the weird nature of this series and my general ineptitude, I ended up over-leveling it, and now we need to click on this to get rid of it. So this is going to be the last little bit of arc story that we're going to get for a decent while, at least I think till 200. Something I didn't mention in the last time that I covered this is just how weirdly poor the performance is in this liminal space. Every single time this dude goes to talk, the game stutters. It's pretty conspicuous. Despite being one of, if not the most important job advancement in terms of gameplay, the story presented here is very minimal. We find ourselves back in the Abyss at another Parent Spectre conference, and once again, it reaffirms that Ark's current half-Spectre state came as a result of outside interference during the ritual. Of course, this is referring to Albert. Additionally, we learned that Ark's soul apparently possessed some kind of impurity, which also prevents the Spectre from being able to fully consume him. And that's kinda it. Ark leaves the Abyss, resolving to determine what that impurity might have been. Now, I might be outing myself as a noob here, and I really don't have anything to gain by making this claim instead of just moving on with the video. But I'm pretty sure this plot point is never followed up on, at least not anywhere that I've seen. I don't think we ever figure out what that impurity is, which is kinda weird since the 4th job advancement positions it as being kind of equally important to Albert's interference. So What we're left with is a job advancement which really only serves to ask a question which, at least as far as I know, never gets an answer. If I do happen to be wrong about this, then it'll be interesting to see when it shows up and what exactly is wrong with our boy Ark. Alright, so fourth job. For those of you who don't know, fourth job is kind of the core of the class. By the time you reach level 100 on any class in this game, you have a solid idea of how it's going to play forever. There are some classes that change a decent amount at 5th job, and there are even less that change at 6th job, but by and large, 4th job is sort of where most of it's kind of locked in. So as far as things that are important here, I'm just going to throw a point into everything, and then we'll just do a quick run through of kind of Ark's complete toolkit. Abyssal Charge Drive is our final charge drive skill. I think that's true. I'm pretty sure that's true. It looks pretty cool. So it's like this little flippy... Oh, sorry. We'll just redo that. It looks pretty cool. It's this flippy hand that explodes. As with all charge drive skills, we get a buff of damage and boss damage and IED. Just another thing to juggle. Not really very interesting, though it does look cool. It's also cancelable. Now I'm happy to be educated on this because maybe I'm ignorant about this, but this skill, Blissful Restraint, is a bind skill, and binds are very important for bossing in this game. They're so important that come 5th job, everybody just gets a generic one for free that's almost always better because it doesn't have any cast delay. You can use it during any other skill, whatever. It can't miss because if you activate it and there's no one around to hit, it just won't activate. So maybe I'm ignorant about this topic, but this skill, while extremely cool looking, is largely useless past a certain point. But it does look cool. The way I see it, this is kind of doomed to just get power crept by Urda Nova. Maybe you could still use it for damage, but why would you? I don't know. Arc mains help me out. Unending Hatred is the first of many 2-minute buffs. Every class in this game has buff skills that are on a 2-minute cooldown, so this is sort of like our burst move, I guess you'd call it. It is pretty apparent when you get to later bossing. You can really feel all the fucking orbs flying out of you. What is this? He's always on fire, or is this part of the haste event? Hero's Will is a pretty niche tool that I'm too incompetent to utilize consistently, but it gets rid of any debuffs on you, which can be pretty good in certain bosses, or you can use it preemptively to avoid like stuns and stuff. The only other skill worth mentioning in 4th job is Battle Frenzy, which I believe is new-ish. It makes it easier to combo your charge skills and your like nightmare, whatever. Basically, it makes it easier to link things to basic charge drive. As well as, I guess, as it says here, Endless Dream. So your 2 main skills, you have this in your Flora state, this in your Spectre state. All those combo timings are going to get significantly easier because of this. This is a simplification of the game, but it's one that I'm actually kind of in defense of, at least from a flavor standpoint, and I'll try to articulate why I think that. But the fact that this is explicitly saved for 4th job and not just baked into these abilities baseline, it intentionally or not kind of carries with it this flavorful implication that Ark has gotten better at controlling the Spectre. So I think it's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of the existence of this skill. Whether you think it should exist from like a mechanical standpoint, if it makes Ark too easy or whatever, I don't have a strong opinion on that one way or the other, but I am generally sympathetic toward people having their favorite classes simplified in games. But I think that if it's going to happen, this is a tactful way to do it. That's my Battle Frenzy rant that nobody asked for. The other thing that we have to cover, of course, a new charge drive skill carries with it a new Spectre mode version, and this is potentially maybe the coolest looking skill that Ark has. I don't know, maybe. This is what it looks like. Very cool. This frenetic slash that carries you forward and up, it very, very Spectre coded, very cool. I'm a huge fan. Especially in combination with the doggy, like you jump with the doggy and then you do that. You have a lot of mobility options here. And then of course, as with every Spectre skill, if linked to Endless Dream, you don't get that mobility component. So to recap, Arc is a combo class that has a series of charge drive skills in its Flora state, and then a series of more powerful Spectre skills in its Spectre state. The charge drive skills all provide buffs when they hit enemies, and the Spectre skills are just stronger. So the idea is you want to be in Spectre mode as often as possible without losing your Flora buffs. And this gauge limits how frequently you can be in Spectre mode. That's the simple version of it, but I think we'll see once we start bossing that controlling the character requires a decent amount of skill and coordination that I think is interesting without being super overbearing, and I think some of that is in part due to this Battle Frenzy skill. Now, at 140, we're going to get hyper skills, which give us a few more buttons, and then at 200, we get 5th job, and if we ever get to 260, we'll get 6th job. So we're not fully done here, but this is the core of things. If you've seen my class design video, you might remember that towards the end of it, I mentioned an intent to go through and review every class in MapleStory. And I have not forgotten that promise. It's just something I've kind of been treating as like a backup plan for when I don't have any other good ideas at the time, which is very funny because I made that mini games video, which implies that I thought that was a good idea. And I was right about that. It was a good idea. But point being that would be kind of the ideal place for me to give my unabridged thoughts on Arc. But at the same time, we're going to be playing this class for like 100 more hours of video, so it's inevitable that I'm going to be giving my opinions on the class. I think the Arc video would probably just be a more well-packaged, better edited version of that. Oh, 132. I'm just going to grind here while I talk for a minute. We always have to do the obligatory SBEG grind sesh. What I think works so well about Arc is that as somebody who is possessed by essentially a scary demon, you really get a sense that he is struggling to control the power. When you go into the Spectre state and you have these insane mobility options, it feels very powerful, but it also feels equally dangerous because these abilities, just as easily as they can do a shit ton of damage and blow up the screen, they can also catapult you directly into a boss's one-shot mechanic and prematurely kill you, which means that just playing the class mechanically reflects the lore of the class, which is that you have to learn to control this. And that process is reflected in the canceling, because if I'm sitting there trying to not jump into a boss's one-shot move, I have to do these cancels. I want to keep these abilities on cooldown because they're a big part of my damage, but I have to make sure that I'm getting the timing right on putting these cancel windows in, because if I screw up, I'll lose control of the scary demon and fly into, like, the Von Bon orb and die. That's why I think this class is so well designed. I think it's the gold standard for, like, character-based classes in these sorts of games. It really very much feels like a fighting game character. It feels like they had a vision for a style, for like a lore, for a story, whatever, and they perfectly melded the mechanics that they wanted to have around that vision. And I'm excited to show more of it and to get better at it, because my main arc, well, my other arc, I guess, on my other account is, I think, only around level 220, 230. Which was also done manually without hyper burning, but like I traded over arcane boxes and stuff, so I've never really struggled on the character, so it's going to be interesting to get into the early game bosses and have to learn how to deal with this. Speaking of, the other thing that I did was Zakum. During my Temu hyperburning session, I went and did my first boss, which kind of feels like it betrays the spirit of the progression series. And if you feel that way, then you're actually wrong. And the reason for that is that normal Zakum is unfortunately kind of a joke at any level. While I do intend to give these bosses the gravitas that they deserve when we get there, I'm gonna save that for, at least for Zakum, for the Chaos version, which will be at around level 200, and actually has mechanics that we have to kind of care about. Also, yeah, I call him Zakum, and my argument for that, you might think it's Zakum. My argument for why it's Zakum, we're gonna ignore the incredible drops that I just got. The reason it's Zakum is because if it's not Zakum, then how are they called Cumpiters? Anyway, ridiculous luck. That's my second Zakum kill. I can put the loot from the first one on screen now, but that's kind of insane. So here we go. Both boss accessory drops from Zakum here. One of which has potential on it, the other doesn't, which isn't the end of the world. We can fix that, especially on Challenger World, pretty easily. Just having two of these, though, at this stage is massive, and these things are going to be with us kind of forever, either as boss gear or as drop gear, which means we ended up not needing the Sailor Mask from Rihanna Strait. I will put it on, just for, this is what we're missing out on. The unfortunate thing about these boss accessories is that they are hideous, and we can solve that with reward point transparent equips in the future, but I don't kill bosses enough to have reward points, so I don't know, should we just cope with it? Ow, I got bonked by like a fucking acorn or something. I certainly won't be equipping the Zakum helm, at least not now. It's not even that good, to be honest. I've been trying to preserve the default arc appearance for a while, but eventually we're gonna have to move over into having a iconic appearance for the YouTube series. I'll spend money on cosmetics in this game anyway, but it's easier to do it if I'm playing a YouTube series. We'll see what I do. We'll see how much I value not having the default appearance. Someday we won't have to look at the power crystals anymore. Until then, though, I'm kind of impressed that we got them, and I would like to Star Force them, I think. It's our first Star Forcing session on the progression series. Boy, I sure hope the item doesn't explode. Also, I legitimately don't have enough mesos for this. Unless I get lucky. That's 10 stars on that one. So we got them both maxed out. It took about 5 mil. I'm still in shock. I mean, it's not the craziest luck because I would have just kept running it, but to see them both so quickly on camera like that was pretty cool. We are going to sell the power crystal, get back 3 mil, and then now, what do we do? What's next? Just going down the list. Oh, we do need to do that Heliseum reclamation quest in order to unlock Magnus. Maybe that's what we do. I was kind of thinking Lion King Castle, but I don't know. I guess that is probably the move. You're that high flora everyone's been talking about, aren't you? This is a generic quest that anybody can do, but this is an example of the writing in this game having little nods to the character you're playing. They do this all the time, and it's kind of cool. You have to take down these specters. Something else I forgot to mention because I honestly didn't realize, I honestly didn't remember, is in Spectre mode you can like float. I'm sure that it's got a very strange input. It's like you have to jump and then hold down and then jump again and then you can control it. And now we're here in Heliseum. I don't know how you're supposed to say that. Heliseum? I've always said Heliseum. We're gonna join them for Operation Free Heliseum. They're mass-producing Spectre battle hounds. If we're gonna reclaim Heliseum and rebuild the camp, we are gonna have to take care of these guys. The front lines are more stable now due to the Nova Warriors, Maple Warriors, and many others playing an active part. But we need supplies. It would be great if you could get some extra rations. We need 10 tails, and then we just teleport. I don't think I'm gonna do an entire plot summary for this section, because I don't think there's much of a plot to really summarize. I'll check this out though. A little bit of a practical showcase of the Arc Spectre mobility. It's pretty cool. Here's my plot summary for this quest line. These guys are down on their luck and we need to rebuild their base. That's the whole thing. This is probably one of the least interesting pre-quests for any of the bosses in the entire game, to be honest. At least any of the main bosses, which is maybe fitting considering I don't find Magnus particularly interesting. I think this may very well be the first time in the series that I'm going to save the hard drive space and stop persistently recording and instead just rely on the replay buffer. I think my SBEG footage is like well over 100 gigabytes at this point. And so, considering nothing really very interesting is happening here, it might make more sense to just only record when something interesting happens. So, here's what I'm gonna do. There's gonna be a cut in the video. The next clip is gonna be something interesting. Because I'm gonna stop recording, and then we're gonna hit the buffer the next time that something interesting happens. I killed Zakum again. Even if Magnus is defeated, who's gonna defeat Garand Darmor? It's gonna be me. By the way, shout out to Alivent. Oh. We fired the cannon. That was so cool. This is kind of a cool looking map. Just been a lot of fighting dudes lately. Whoa, vertical video. That's strange. That has to be, like, updated at some point, right? I have a hard time imagining it was always animated like that. I believe this questline was updated when they added the main story, and so I think it is considered a main story quest now. I guess it definitely is. And I believe that's why the animation was updated, and also maybe that's why you get teleported all the time. I don't know if I remember if that used to be the case, because I remember this being kind of tedious in the past. Oh, what up, 10 boogies? If I recall, by the time you get into the castle, you're pretty close to being done. I mean, there he is. How often do people look at this map anymore? Hey, I've been here before. Can't go in, though. Did I just get a light bulb? Oh, I could turn it in here. Guardians of the Throne of Heliseum still remain. I'm very glad that I was listening to the sounds and realized that these quests were in the light bulb, because this would be really annoying if I had to walk back every single time. Hey, underground passage. That's a good, I gotta think of a good RuneScape joke. The important thing is to use the reagent at a 3-to-2 ratio. First get 30 purple reagents and 20 red reagents. You know, as far as quest text to justify killing various amounts of enemies, I think that's kinda... that kinda works for me. It would have been so easy for them to just make it 30 and 30, but I kinda like it. I think stuff like that... Essentially, the big question that MapleStory has to answer is every single thing, the solution pretty much has to be killing a lot of cartoon animals, and introducing these sorts of different narrative justifications is kind of funny when you start to get into it. I don't really know what I'm trying to get at here, but I'm a fan. I'm a 3-2 enjoyer. Or the purple reagent at a 3-2 ratio. Okay, it would have been kind of funny if they actually made me pick, like, how much do you want to put in? You have to put the right amounts. I don't think I would have hated that. We gotta kill this guy and take his... Oh, shit, he's crazy! I'm sure Treglow would have thanked you if he could have. I didn't mean to get emotional. See, in contrast to the 3-2 ratio, this one is just kill 50 of them. Oh, now we're going all the way back to the black market. I really don't understand why we needed to come back. She just said, listen, you gotta come back, and then just is gonna make me walk all the way over there? Do I have to walk back again? No, I just had to change maps. We gotta help our boy Piston, he got wounded. Oh, there he is. See, this is for sure updated. This is like main story stuff. Were there too many enemies? Oh no, it was Velderoth. He's with Magnus now? No! We have to postpone the plan to kick Magnus off the throne. We gotta take care of the Velderoth situation. Velderoth's situation is crazy. Be nice to see some arc dialogue here since we are fighting specters. I have not seen any unique arc dialogue. I've seen Flora dialogue and I've seen non-Nova dialogue, but I feel like Arc should maybe be like, damn, those guys are scary. I should be a writer for this game. Velderoth's up on the 3rd floor. We'll just pop over and bonk him. Hey, buddy.
The enemy's here. Damn it. How'd it come to this?
This voice acting is almost audible. I'm kind of surprised. That's pretty rare for this game.
To do is hold out until Magnus turns the tide.
Hi, buddy. Oh, God. Strange that this isn't voice acted. Why does Velderoth get voice acting, but Magnus doesn't? Sacred Stone? You know, the real reason that this episode took so long to get out, I shouldn't admit this. I should just pretend that I had some family emergency or work-related incident, but mostly I've just been trying to finish 3 houses before the new Fire Emblem game comes out, because I never finished it. And I always insist on playing every single one of these things on the hardest difficulty, which is so difficult that I physically sweat when I play the game. Oh. Now he's voice acted.
Those wretched guardians. All I asked them to do was hold you people off. Well, fine. Absorbing the holy relic was getting boring. I need a good fight.
That's not the right words.
So go on, idle girl. Entertain me.
Yo, someone get Nexon on the horn. I think I'm the only QA tester who got this far. Alright, check this out. He doesn't have his scary force field. Which is a little strange, because why not actually teach the mechanics of that fight? I mean, if the numbers are going to be low enough to be able to defeat him that easily, you might as well actually have the mechanics. Bye. Oh no, he got sucked into a vortex. That doesn't usually happen when I kill that guy. He escaped with the holy relic. Oh no. I mean, shit, yeah, Angelic Buster, woo! Oh. Oh. Yeah! I believe that Tabami will be the linchpin of this alliance. Probably not. Tabami would rather spend 6 hours doing Afterlands than anything productive. Angelic Buster's autograph! Well, that's gonna do it for this episode. I know I say this at the start of every video because it's like a hilarious bit that I do, but this video did actually take a long time. I think that's probably the first time that that's been true. It's not actually because of maintenance or trying to play Fire Emblem, but also both of those things are part of it. I think at this point, you SBEG fans who are willing to watch 30 minutes into these things are kind of my ride or die gamers. Not MapleStory ride or die. I'm not calling you a slur, it's a compliment. So I know that you guys probably don't mind, but I do want to get back to making regular videos. SBEG was always intended to be a side project, and it's kind of taking over just because of how much easier these things are to make. I am working on multiple new videos, and I'm continuing to chip away at these things. I don't know how much more I had to say. The inflection there made it seem like I was going to keep going. That's about it, though. Remember to rate, comment, subscribe, and leave a video response about what you thought about me speedrunning this quest series. Bye!